Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 2 in a series between Satiini and nAni here on Steps of War. Here we have Satiini spawning as the orange Terran player, meanwhile SRS Razor nAni spawning over here as the pink Protoss player. So pretty in pink Protoss versus outrageous orange Terran here on Steps of War. Satiini spawning on the south side, and nAni now spawning over here on the north side. So this should be once again a great game. Game 1, if you have not seen it, mute me for a couple seconds. Game 1, and nAni taking that game. A great job using force fields and Colossus in that game. Now we are on to game 2. So game 2 should also be very interesting, as well as we now see a supply depot being placed down, and that supply depot will be a little bit behind, so that 12th SCV will be significantly delayed. The building of a supply depot is what, 30 units a time. Training up 2 SCVs is already 34. So you only have about a 4 game second window to not delay your SCV production. We do see an SCV now running around inside the map, making sure that there is no proxy gateway of anything, of any sort, as it moves out. So we are now chrono boosting, now training up some more probes. Gonna sit at 12/18. Train up another probe and most likely chrono boost. Oh, not gonna chrono boost. So he may be saving up the chrono boost for the gateway. And if that is in fact the case, we should not see an assimilator and see a second gateway in just a moment. Back over here, we see the SCV now moving out, and the probe was able to dance around that SCV. But no, we do see an assimilator. So not 100% sure what. Now chrono boosting that one probe over there. So not 100% sure why there was a slight delay. Could have gotten the probe about, I believe, what, 7 game seconds or 9 game seconds earlier, or 2 probes 9 game seconds earlier. Back over here, we do have the refinery now coming in, and the SCV getting harassed there. But that SCV now quickly pulling off, halting the job. So nicely done, using that halt ability to stop. So if you want to halt, there is no hotkey for it, I believe. You have to actually hit the little X there if you're trying to pull your SCV off. But we do have a gas denial, and now an SCV over here has been, no, the SCV continuing to build. The SCV now down to 5 hit points, able to barely get away out of there, as we now have a cybernetics core coming into play. Razor nAni not training up a zealot, however, and this probe may try to run into this SCV and take him out. No, he's waiting here, perhaps waiting for that SCV, dancing around back and forth, knowing that SCV is going to be coming back in, and no, that SCV trying to be very, very cautious, and in comes this fight. Is this probe going to get it? No, back and forth, and now this probe just dancing around, doesn't want to get that kill. No hero probe, as a Marine going to go out and now start shooting that one probe. Probe now down to 8 hit points there, and oh, he gets the kill anyways. Beautifully done. As this now, no, we have the refinery still in play, and now a zealot finally making its way over to start dealing that damage. Back over here, we still have Marines being trained up, and now going for a factory before even throwing down a tech lab. So we'll see how Satiini changes this up after game 1. And as he's not throwing down a tech lab, we're not going to see those early marauders. The refinery has been canceled, and now we see a robotics facility over here. So this is a 1 gate into a robotics facility, slightly different than the 2 gate that we saw earlier. And now we may see a complete wall in here with another supply depot. So Satiini now sitting at 23/27, researching the warp gate, getting more pylons. We do see another barracks now being thrown down. So this is going to be Marines and siege tanks perhaps pushing out. We are running off of 2 gas. Taking a look at the harvester tab, Satiini running off of 2 gas. Meanwhile, nAni finally getting this assimilator up, will be able to run off of 2 gas as well. Also getting that warp gate ability. That warp gate taking down 10 units of time essentially on the cooldown or on the training of all of these units. So it really increases the production of your sentries and those zealots, sentries, zealots, high templars, dark templars. It really helps out. I've never actually seen a gateway actually train a Dark Templar or a High Templar ever in StarCraft 2. In all the replays that I've cast, if I have, that it must have been a very, very odd occurrence. Back over here, we do have this probe now still wandering around on the low ground, making sure that there is no expansion. We do see one SCV trying to push its way up and figure out what exactly the strategy and the tech is for Satiini. And Satiini now really just playing in the dark. We will have an observer. No observer out yet. No, sorry, there it is. The observer now moving out, so nAni will not be playing in the dark, and that's going to give nAni a definite advantage. We do have Marines now being trained, but with no tech lab, no stim pack, and no combat shields. So this may just be a Marine and siege tank push. We do have that siege tech currently being researched, and now Satiini going to be getting a fair amount of gas in just a moment. So really, Satiini gonna get an excess amount of gas off of this one factory, since siege tanks cost 45 units of time to build, and you harvest about 224 things of gas every 60 units of time. So yeah, he's gonna be sitting on a large amount of gas. Should throw down a starport, or even consider some Reapers, or even Marauders, but he needs additional tech labs for that. There is Immortals now coming in, and now in come these Marines. Guardian Shield reducing the damage on those units, and one siege tank trying to pull away, able to finally getting taken down. Now continuing to fire back and forth. One siege tank pulling away. Beautiful micro, trying to minimize the amount of damage that Immortal can do. One Zealot couldn't get taken down here, and finally another sentry there, and now there's one Immortal, and that Immortal will be forced to pull back. This is going to be just a 1,000,000-man march trying to push through. This one Immortal here not taking any damage, so finally able to recharge those shields. Marines now pulling back here, as there's a Marine and an Immortal dealing damage towards each other. Siege tanks pulling back smartly, does not want to take 50 damage from those phase disruptors. And now this Immortal deciding to pull back. We do have Razor nAni with one probe there. And now what's going to be happening? We do see that Observer. So this one Immortal just trying to dance between these two locations, and now going after the siege tank. Siege tank now pulling back. We do have the Immortal trying to use the brush, perhaps. Yeah, gonna start using that brush there, and that Immortal down to 72 hit points. Marines going up to that high edge, and now this Immortal being forced to just run up this ramp instead. That Immortal is not gonna have nowhere to run and nowhere to hide as it continues to fight. There are Stalkers and now Zealots coming in to join in on this fight. One siege tank over here, but nAni now definitely in a strong advantage, sitting on a 1,500 middle army versus 650, as these Marines finally able to get that final shot off. But that's not going to be a good sight, as Satiini going to take a lot of damage here. Stalker is going to abuse that, or use that range of 6 to their advantage. And now that last Marine will get taken down. 3 damage onto that Stalker before those shields start to regenerate. Over here, we do have some siege tanks, or one siege tank sieging up over here just outside of range. So those Stalkers have to run up all the way onto this high ground in order to even get any shots off, and probably will not be able to. Is Satiini going to, raise that supply depot there, as we now see some Immortals. We do have one Observer. The Observers will be able to shoot at this one supply depot here, as those Immortals are now going to start trying to blast at it. SCVs coming over to repair, desperately trying to repair. Immortals dealing so much damage, however, and now in come those Immortals there. Immortals now trying to deal more damage onto that high ground there. We have one Observer, 2 siege tanks, and no... Wow, with no missile turret, that Observer just giving sight to this high ground. And nAni just in a great job, but nAni unable to really put any pressure here. There is a little bit of a gap in this position, so those Zealots may be able to push through. There is a bunker there. We finally see a tech lab, but still no research on any of those concussive shells, or stim pack, or combat shields. So we are now starting to mass Marauders. We should probably also see some sort of, additional... we should probably see some Ravens, as a Raven would be a strong unit at this time, as he is sitting on a large amount of gas, perhaps another factory as well. Orbital Command over here trying to drop in some more mules, but we see that nAni now taking this expansion over here on the low ground. So sieging nAni on this low ground, sieging up, but this is not going to be good, as now more Marines moving out. This one bunker gonna get destroyed very easily. Siege tanks need to move up to over here to start dealing that damage, and down that goes. So wow, Satiini trying to push out, not doing a good job. Needed another siege tank there, quickly using a scanner sweep to reveal more and more of this fight. And now siege tank continuing to push. nAni cannot take this siege position for very much longer. Immortals will be able to get in position and start firing at the siege tank there. Bunker not within range, so 2 Immortals quickly taking down one of those siege tanks as well. The siege tank probably needed to be positioned right here, and just moving out a little bit too aggressively. And now another force field, so beautifully done, blocking any of these units from trying to get back in. So there are 2 Immortals here, and now we see an Orbital Command landing and then dropping back up. So army wise, 1350, holding off a 2300 mineral army. No concussive shells, no stim pack. Currently researching stim pack, however, and now in comes that Immortal taking some damage, actually finally deciding to pull back. And now a siege tank, one on the ramp itself, will be able to get some more shots once again. So 3 siege tanks continuing to fire back and forth. Will it be enough? Marauders trying to use that range of 6, but no, nAni just dealing such a large amount of damage back and forth, and things are not looking good at all. Marauders now quickly dropping onto the low ground to deal more damage to these Stalkers. And now this army, very small army of Satiini, able to continue to hold off this attack. This supply depot, however, will burn down. SCVs coming over to start repairing it once again. And now Satiini just taking horrible losses. 4250 versus 2850. Now we do see that these Immortals are doing a great job, and production-wise, we are now also getting a Phase Prism and a Twilight Council. So with that Twilight Council, also getting 4 additional Warp Gates. So nAni will be able to run off of, I believe, 7 gates, and then a quick scanner sweep, and quickly dealing a lot of damage towards that, towards those siege tanks. A siege tank's not a strong counter towards those Immortals, and the army is just way too much. There are some Marines and Marauders, but that 50 damage on an Immortal with that attack speed of 1.45 just equates to so much damage against these units here. Looking back over here, we are currently running off of, what, 6 gateways? Yeah, just 6 gateways. I thought it was more at first, but only 6 gateways, and now getting a Twilight Council as this army is going to try to pressure up and do a little bit more. We do, in fact, have Stim Pack now, so Stim Pack Marines and no weapons research. Still, we need to see some sort of missile turret, perhaps even just right here to deter that Observer. As soon as that Observer is able to just continually give sight to this high ground, nAni is able to just constantly put a lot of pressure. And one of the reasons why Terran needs that early engineering bay. And now, the Orbital Command, once again, trying to land, trying to get in position. Siege Tank gonna try to get another blast off. That Siege Tank only has 3 damage so far. Marines continuing to fire back and forth that medevac in a dangerous position as well. Double force fields, and that Sentry down to 97 energy, continuing to just drop those force fields. This Orbital Command being forced to pull away. Are we going to get a scanner sweep? Not quite sure why there's Vikings. Double training Vikings off of a starport when we haven't seen any Colossus, and now a Warp Prism. So there is that Warp Prism there. We should be able to shoot that out of the sky. Doesn't take too much damage there, and we do have 1 Ghost. So that Ghost was trying to get some EMP shockwaves off, trying to deal some damage, and in come this whole entire attack here. The Stalker is going to take down this siege tank on the high ground, and Vikings not doing anything at all, and Satiini going to lose this whole entire fight. A second medevac, or even 3 medevacs, would have been a much stronger choice. Army-wise, 950 versus 2175, and down goes that last siege tank there. So yeah, Satiini just losing this game, and nAni, yeah, Satiini leaving. So nAni doing a great job using Immortals and Stalkers against Satiini in this particular matchup. Now, one of the things that I would have liked to see Satiini do in this matchup is try to go for Banshees. Banshees are a very strong counter towards Immortals. I know there are a large number of Stalkers, though. The Stalkers are able to attack the air, but you got to remember that they are not armored units. They are only light. So it takes 14 Stalkers, 1 round of attack, to being able to shoot down 1. So if you can micro your Banshees very well, you can be able to start to just deplete those shields, as the Banshees are able to deal, I believe, 20 damage every 1.2 seconds when you account for that overshield, and it really depletes those overshields very quickly. Now with a combination of siege tanks, that may have been enough to for Satiini to push out. But I'm a strong advocate for Banshees if the Protoss player goes for a robotics facility. The robotics facility, the units are mainly canceled canceled off by Banshees, or just because the Immortals quickly get taken apart, and Colossus, Vikings actually deal less damage to Colossus than Banshees do if you look at it DPS, and Banshees only costs 25 gas over it anyways. Now, taking a look back over here, nAni did a great job in this whole entire fight. Kudos to nAni for keeping that pressure up, getting those force fields down, just constantly containing him, and Satiini unable to get this expansion as nAni was about to take up a 3rd base. Even though this base has already been nearly completed, we do see Zealot legs nearing completion, and I would have really liked to see Stalker blink instead. I think Stalker blinking up onto that high ground, and then just getting within 0 range of those siege tanks would have just completely changed the game as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay here on Steps of War between Satiini and nAni. Stay tuned for the 3rd game in this series.